Okay, guys, thank you for coming. And where do we start from? What's your belief about origin of life? I don't know who will start us up.
I think I can start us off.
Okay.
Mm, Personally, my belief regarding the origin of life, I strongly believe in an intelligent design.
And why is that so?
Because throughout my life as a student, all I was taught about is the theory of evolution, which tells us about the origin of life. And now, as an adult looking at it, I don't think it makes sense to me anymore.
It
I mean,
doesn't.
it does. Who does that? Because they tell me that I have originated from an ape, but looking at myself, I don't think I've
Yeah.
originated from an ape. Or
Why
what do you
not? You
think?
don't think you look like an ape?
Not because of oh my god, not because of looking like an ape or what. I'm looking at it from the point that I have a bigger intellectual capacity compared to an ape. So that doesn't mean I was an ape earlier and finally became a human. Probably in the next million years, humans will be flying if that is the case.
But
Imagine.
don't you think because you have a better intellectual capacity, it means you evolved from an ape, so you're better than an ape?
No, let me ask you a question. Look at a Probox and a Lamborghini. They were all designed differently. Does that mean Lamborghini evolved from a Probox?
I don't know.
Okay, maybe you can tell us.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Actually, if you just look at around us, the way things are, you cannot basically tell me that things just came about randomly. They
Hmm.
didn't. So, if, for example, we look at the cell, the complexity of the cell in the body, the way the cell works perfectly, it just works in perfection, no errors. How can you tell me that the cell basically just came out by itself? No, I definitely think there must be an intelligent
I
design
agree. I
behind it.
strongly
Yeah.
agree
yeah,
with her.
exactly.
Hmm.
And also, uh, the general life or how we are, everything that surrounds us, the environment is designed. It doesn't just look random. Even the
Yeah, sure.
ecosystem is so balanced. That thing is not random. You
Sure,
see,
sure.
and
Yeah.
also to say that because we have some similarities with an ape, I evolved from an ape. No, it can
Yeah.
mean that we were designed by someone who had a, like an understanding of I want this to be this way, I want this to be this way.
Yes,
So we
Mhm.
have a common designer, but not a
a
common
common origin.
ancestry.
Okay, so you're telling
Exactly.
me
Mhm,
that all you three
mhm.
believe in intelligent design.
Of
And
Yeah,
where do
course.
you
that's
have
the point.
evidence? Or do you have
Yeah.
evidence pointing to this
I
intelligent
mean,
design?
why
Yeah,
not?
Yeah.
Just look at the environment.
Uh-huh.
Like, if I look at the environment just the way it is, like I previously told you an example of a Probox and Lamborghini, but
Hmm.
outside that, I look at myself like this, how my body is so coordinated,
Hmm.
how it works, that I cannot just simply originate from some random
yeah,
chemical processes.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
an atom and an atom colliding to form a cell that can produce a protein.
Why
Definitely
not?
no.
No, it can't
Uh-uh.
happen. Like, look at the DNA and the RNA, they're all made up of protein, and
Hmm.
they code for so much specific proteins that if there was a problem with a single nucleotide in your gene, you are considered as a defective person. You have
Yeah.
a defect in certain parts of your body, and definitely you'll go see a, a doctor.
Yeah,
I
Don't you
mean,
definitely.
think? Don't you think
Mhm.
that these defects, okay, what you call a defect, can defect and defect and defect and produce a totally new one?
probably
Uh,
by now we
That's
would
what
be
you call
flying.
mutation. That's what you
no,
call mutation. Like we mutated and mutated until we became a totally new
uh,
organism.
No.
absolutely not,
Really?
because you cannot, no, an imperfection cannot be perfect. An
True.
imperfection will always be
Imperfect.
imperfect. A
Yes.
Imperfect.
perfect
Yeah.
being or a perfect thing becomes perfect because it was created perfect. Now, a deformity occurs, let's say for the mutation, it occurs, yes, but that doesn't mean now every mutation that occurs for a period of time will end up forming a perfect human being like me. It
Yeah.
Like
can't.
however long it takes, it
However
still
long it
Can't.
isn't
takes.
possible.
It
Yeah,
No,
it
can't.
it's not
cannot.
Like,
possible.
look,
It's
look
imperfect.
at our immune system.
Mm,
Hmm.
Our blood cells originate from the bone marrow.
yeah.
And why is it that the T cells travel to the thymus only and
Can
they
you
cannot
tell us?
mature in the bone marrow? Because they were designed that way. It's
Yeah.
only in the thymus that
Mhm.
they can develop
Mhm.
into active immune cells that can protect our body.
Mhm.
Why is it that a B cell
Mhm.
cannot act on a virus as much as a T cell can?
Exactly.
I mean, it has been designed, it just can't randomly say,
Mhm.
you are a T cell, go there, fight a virus. It must
Mhm.
have been designed. And when it comes to division of the cells, there are different phases of cell division. We have the S phase, the G phase. Why is it that when the cell is at the G phase, there is no division? Why is it like that?
Yeah,
It must
exactly.
have been coordinated and programmed to occur that way.
Mhm.
Do you
Yeah,
agree with me?
yeah, actually there must have been programmation. Let's look at the sex-linked gene diseases. For example, like the sickle cell. So the sickle cell only happens via the genes, where maybe I can transmit the gene for the sickle cell disease from one generation to another, and that's an abnormality. So, and that proceeds to the next generation. Therefore, there will not be like at any case that the sickle cell is maybe mutating to be something else. No, it's just the genes which are just passed on
If it was
to the next
random, it could mutate
generation.
to a better gene,
Yeah,
Exactly.
actually.
exactly.
And it's
Yeah.
not mutating, it's still the same sickle cell disease.
And
Well,
that,
this is such a beautiful conversation. I
yeah,
think I should have more of this.
and Daktari, every species in this world is intelligent on its own.
Mhm.
We have a brain, the cow has a brain, even an ape, or let's say a virus. A virus is the smallest thing that we really know. But a virus acts intelligently. Let's take an example of a herpes simplex virus. This herpes simplex virus knows that I have to survive. So the only way that I can survive in a human body is for me to go into a neuron somewhere that I cannot be detected by these cells that can engulf me and kill me. You see, that is intelligence. An HIV virus, the, the only way an HIV virus can survive is when it goes into a human cell, from where it can now make the human cell produce proteins. Now, this virus will use these proteins to replicate itself. You see, it
Yeah.
replicates itself, killing the host organism or the
Actually.
host cell. In that way, it can survive. That is intelligence.
Actually, it
Yeah.
takes
Yeah.
over our own cell
Yeah.
machinery to replicate itself.
Yeah.
Itself is an intelligence on its own.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
It's so brilliant.
Yeah.
So, what is your take on the theory of evolution? Because it seems you're all over this theory of intelligent design. Like,
Oh my
what do you think
God.
about the theory of evolution? Because this has been there with us like forever.
Yeah,
Actually, that's
sure.
an interesting question.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because as a believer of intelligence design, I look at the evolution theory and sometimes I'm like, probably I might have been crazy to have believed that theory. I mean, look at it. If we evolved from a monkey which had four limbs, we became two, we ended up having two limbs, then probably in the near future we could fly.
Yeah,
I don't know if
Maybe
that
that's
is
what is going to
possible.
happen.
But
Don't you
why
think
is it
so?
not happening in the past millennium years that we have had? We haven't seen a change in it. I go travel to the US, for example. Even if I go stay there for 10 years, I'm never going to look like a white person. I don't know what that
Yeah, because
means to you.
we've had blacks, they have
Yeah,
never adapted. They still bring forth blacks and blacks
blacks
and
and
blacks over
nothing is
millions of years.
changing.
Or
Yeah, I
become
mean, come
yellow.
on. Why are they not
Yeah.
evolving to join the people who originally came from there? I mean, that doesn't make sense,
And so
does it?
interesting
It
that the baboons are
doesn't.
still there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
look at
did
the
the
baboons.
process stop?
Actually, it's so funny. Kakamega Forest, when you go there, the baboons are still so hairy despite the warm climate. Like,
Mhm.
come on. If we evolved and ended up losing our hair in the body as it is said
Why are the
to
Kakamega
adapt,
baboons losing their hair?
why are they not losing? Why are they not evolving to look like me and you,
Yeah,
honestly?
actually, if we look at a certain instance, we are told that in the Charles Darwin's theory that the neck basically achieved the length of their neck basically by reaching the twigs that were so high. How is that even making sense? Basically, like even considering that the fact that they stretched their neck, they couldn't like pass the gene to the next generation. No.
Oh, I'm getting your point. So,
Uh-huh.
like you're trying to say that it is not the adaptation
Mhm.
that is transferred to the next; it is the genes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like if I work out in the gym and
Mhm.
become fit,
Yeah,
the,
that's
the
my
child that I
point.
bring forth isn't going to be fit. I will
Yes.
transfer the genes
It's
and
just
not
an
the
acquired
adaptation.
trait.
Well, that
Exactly.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It does.
exactly.
Yeah. So,
So,
what's
might
yeah?
on about this evolution theory, uh, just because we are similar in appearance doesn't mean that we have a common ancestry. This can mean also that we had a designer who designed us in a way that he knew himself because he was intelligent. Now, the person who can design a house can design a house and also design another house which is almost similar to this other house. Now, you cannot tell me that this one evolved to this one. It's not possible.
It's
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
It
That's
It's
doesn't
not
that's
make sense.
possible.
that's
yeah,
a
It
case
doesn't.
of common intelligent design. You call it a common
yeah,
design and
common
not
design.
common ancestry.
Ancestry,
Like the
exactly.
evolution
Exactly.
says, if you share, like what you're telling me, if you're sharing some genes, if there's some genes in you that look
Mm-hmm.
like your grandfather or like looks like some genes in a baboon, for example,
Mm-hmm.
that just simply means it is common design.
Yeah.
Like to
Exactly.
borrow your Lamborghini example, like a Lamborghini has wheels, a Probox
Mm-hmm.
has wheels, and
No,
it doesn't mean a Probox
a,
evolved to
a
a
Lamborghini.
Lamborghini.
Exactly. It doesn't make
And that
sense.
also means that it doesn't mean that because in the early stages of life, like in the embryonic stages, we see some similarities, and then when the process proceeds, now the differences come into being.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean that all of them like evolved from the same thing. It comes to the concept that we were designed by one designer.
This makes a
Ah,
lot of sense.
like
Like if the embryo of what did he say?
A
A
chicken
A
chicken. The
chicken
mm,
embryo
and
of
a
a
human
chicken
and
being.
looks
a
like the
human being.
embryo of
A
a human
human
being,
Yeah,
being.
but that does not mean that they descended from the same ancestry. It simply means
exactly.
exactly.
the
Exactly.
designer thought it wise to.
Yeah.
It
And
does make
if I can
sense.
use a high example of the neck of a giraffe
Mm-hmm.
being uh, tall in order to get the twigs, does it mean that there was some point in time where the earth ran out of grass now because we have to go? It's
Yeah.
impossible.
Point
It
Oh
never
my
ran out of
god.
grass. Grass are always there the moment
Hey,
the
why,
animals eat.
yes. Why exactly was the giraffe
Yeah,
trying to
trying
adapt
to
to
Yeah.
eat
eat the
leaves?
twigs.
Yet
And
we have so much
honestly,
that they
not
can
just
eat.
that way. Evolution theory also tells us about the random processes, an atom reacting with an atom to
Mm-hmm.
give a complex organism. Honestly, does it make sense to you that an atom and an atom reacted together to form the genome of a whole human being
Yeah.
that codes for millions of proteins in our body? I don't get it. I
Well,
don't.
they say it kept on like multiplying and changing from one complexity to the next, something like that.
And why don't we have like during the changes? Why don't we have like different changes occurring? Like person A appearing like this because
Mhm.
of the random
Yeah,
changes. The
exactly.
Exactly.
person kind of looks like,
It is too
uh,
uniform, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
It is
it's
too
too uniform to
uniform
be
to have been
random.
Yeah.
Come on,
random.
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, that was a very beautiful conversation,
Yeah.
and I want to just ask you, what is your final word?
I'll go first. My final word on this is that let's not take simple assumptions of similar appearance to base on this evolution theory and try to say that the evolution theory is only the correct theory in this world. So I will say that let us adapt to this theory of intelligent design, which is more practical because everything that we see is designed. So I only believe that we were designed. That's my final word on this. Thank you.
I do believe that things did not come by just random account. There must be an intelligent design behind it. And I'll give an example of the sinus node. It's in the
The heart.
yeah in
Yeah.
the heart.
Mm-hmm.
So in the sinus node of the heart, it can basically supply blood even if there is no other coordination from any other organs in the body. So you cannot just tell me that that just came out of random.
Mm-hmm.
It there must be honestly there must be a
A
designer
designer
behind it.
about
There
it.
must be a
Yeah.
designer. There
Like,
must
why
be a
is it not
designer.
found in any other organ in our
Why?
body? Why only the
The
heart?
heart.
You
Why
know,
only the
that
heart?
can't be a random process. Probably if it was
Yeah.
random, yours will be in the arm, mine will be in the heart, his would be in the
Exactly.
leg.
And
You
they are
know,
so uniform such that mine is in the same place
Mm-hmm.
as
yeah.
his.
And the heart beats
So uniform.
automatically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as
Uh-huh.
far as
What's your final
this,
word?
as far as this is concerned,
Mm-hmm.
my final word would be like, we should not just believe in things because we were told. Sometimes we have to question to get what is actually out there. There is so much more than what evolution theory teaches us. if we decide to open our mind and find out what is actually out there in the world, let's together find out about intelligence design as we follow where the evidence leads.
That's very
Exactly.
good. That was
Yeah.
quite beautiful. Aisha, Sharon, and Benjamin are the students from Alupe University from the School of what was that?
Health
Health
science.
From the
sciences.
School of Health Sciences. And for more information, make sure you log on to www.biocosmoskenya.org or www.biocosmosafrica.org.